Hi everyone, this is Mr. Mendez. I actually wanted to show you how you can work on your science fair project while still being at home using your Chromebooks and the Google Classroom that you guys will have access to. So, on my screen you'll see all the classes that I'm in charge of, Earth Science, Regular Science, English, Red and Yellow, the histories that I have. But every single person should already gotten a link or an invite to your science class. So, let's test that out. We're going to go to regular science. So that's, red group, yellow 1, yellow 2. Green group has earth science, but they still have the same um, science fair project. So on this first part, you have the stream where you'll be able to share any other questions or comments or even concerns you may have about the class. And this can be found in any classroom that you have. But what I want you guys to see is that when you go to classroom, you have these different subjects. Now for the regular sciences, they already have like a food pyramid homework and an earth science homework, but the main thing that this video is going to be focusing on is on the science fair project. So you go down here, you click science fair, and it kind of gives you a direction and then the example for the slides. So I'm actually going to read through the directions first. So here's the directions. I know that you all have been working so incredibly hard on your science fair projects. Since we're not entirely sure how long this quarantine will last, I want to make sure I want to provide the opportunity to show your work. Using Google Slides, which I'll show you guys what it is, you will present your projects. Instead of posters, you will enter your work on Google Slides. There is an example of how your slides should look like attached to this assignment. You also could take a photo of your poster board if you have already completed your assignment. This will be the main assignment that you will have for science. Good luck and feel free to contact me through the Google Classroom if you have any questions. And like I said, there's not an exact due date of when this is due, just because I know some people, they don't have the supplies. I know some people, it's going to take them time to get used to Google Classroom and how to work this whole like technological side of it. So take your time, but just know that that is the main thing you guys are going to be focusing on. All right. So what I mean by Google Slides, my 6th and 7th graders already know about the whole slides things that we have in our class. But what I mean by that is that think of it as if your poster is on the computer. And what you do, and I'll show you an example of this. So I'm going to click the science fair example. And what you have here, this whole thing that you see is called Google Slides. Now this is my example. That's why it's on the top left corner here it says science fair example. But this whole program is called Google Slides. Now, in order for you guys to finish this, what you guys are going to be doing is that you guys are going to be listing all of your things on Google Slides in different pages. I'll run down the example that I showed for you guys. So the science fair example that I created is which diaper is the most absorbent, meaning which one could suck up the most liquid or water. And why would this be important? Well, diapers are pretty expensive, especially now since this whole coronavirus is going around. Diapers are becoming a very rare thing. And I want to make sure that if people are going to be buying a diaper, then it's something that could last them a very, very long time. It's a good brand, and they don't have to go to the store every single week just because the diaper is not that great. So that's the title. This is the first part, number 1, the first slide. It's going to be the name of your project and then your name down here. Right here, I just put science for example. Now, you guys, all of you guys will be able to look at this example just in case you forget how it's supposed to look like or you need a little bit of inspiration. Second slide, which is number 2 here. Question, meaning, question, meaning what exactly are you asking? And my question here is, which diaper brand is the best for absorbing liquid? So I have Huggies, Pampers, and Loves. So that's the question. Now, I already had someone ask me, how do we make the Google slide really colorful or add things to it? Now, if you look up here, you have a lot of tools that you'll be able to use. Text box meaning if I wanted to add something here, I just create it. I click this button and then I dragged it, and I could type, this is an example. Example, yeah, but that's not where that would go, so that's gotten rid of. But if I want to add a picture, for example, I added these pictures, you could go here, it says insert image, press the drop down. If you already have it on your computer, awesome. Most people won't, but you go here, search the web. On the right side, you have this really awesome thing that Google has where you can search up for any type of images and they will bring it to you. So I'm not going to look up another Pampers example. I'm just going to look up a random picture. So SpongeBob. There's a SpongeBob meme, but I'll put SpongeBob. And so what Google will do is that they will give you a list of different pictures that you can use legally. Now, why the reason I say legally is that there's some pictures that people have to have like the permission to use, like the rights, the copyrights to use. Now, this is way too much information for you guys to know at the moment, but I want you guys to know that when you look at pictures here, you have no worrying of you taking a photo that does not belong to you. So I'm gonna use, I'll just use this title. So you select it, and you can select more than one if you want to, but for this example, I'm just selecting this top one. So once you select it, you go down here and you press insert, and boom, there it is, SpongeBob SquarePants. Now this is really big. You're all gonna have to play with how this technology works. Some of you guys will get really, really fast. Some of you guys are used to it. Some of you guys don't know anything about it, and that's okay. That is why I said there's no due date, because this is going to take some time. So if I wanted to make this smaller, I'll just go up here. There's like a small part. It shows like an arrow. I'll make it smaller, and boom. Now it's small. Yeah, but that's not relating to my my question. So SpongeBob has nothing related to which diaper is the most absorbent. So I'm going to get rid of that. Oops. There we go. All right, so that's the second slide. The second slide is the hypothesis. Now, we have already talked about it in class. Hypothesis means what is it you think is going to happen? What do you think the answer is? What do you think? What is your very smart guess? Now, the hypothesis that I picked for this example is I believe that Huggies absorbs the most liquids, so it has to be the best diaper brand. So that's a hypothesis. If you notice, some of these slides are really like empty. There's nothing on there. Try to be creative. Add pictures if you want to. Add flowers. Heck, add diapers if it was this example. It's just whatever you want. You can also change the theme, meaning how these slides look like. Now this one is just a blue slide with a like a whitish background. You can always change the thing going here, and it gives you different examples of how your things could look like. For example, this is how it looks like now, but if I change it to this, it changes how it looks like all of it. So, play with that, play around with that. Don't be afraid to use it. I'm gonna go back to the original. It's a matter of taking your time and practicing with what you have. Okay, so that's the third slide. Fourth one. Materials, meaning the things that you're going to need for this experiment or this project. So I write down the things that I will need for this experiment or project are Huggies diapers, Love's diapers, Pamper diapers, a notebook, pen, possibly a camera, a water bottle, and food coloring. Now I forgot to add something else. I was going to add a water dropper, but again, this is just to show you what do I mean by you're supposed to write materials. All right. Some of you guys will be different. Some of you guys are working on volcanoes. Some of you guys are working on paper roller coasters. It's all up to you. This is just my example. So that's materials. The fifth one you will do is procedures and steps, meaning what exactly are you doing for your experiment or your project. So this is what I did, and it's a lot of reading, but for this experiment I will first lay out a brand new brand on the table, a brand of diaper on each table. Second, I'm going to be mixing food coloring into a water bottle. That food coloring is so I can see the water better when I spray it on the diaper, because you can't really see water unless you have the light shining on it. Third, I will be dropping water on each open diaper, the same amount on each diaper, about 10 drops or so, maybe 15. Using a water dropper would help. Fourth, I will record the amount of staining on each diaper, meaning I want to see how much wetness is on there. Like, is it a lot of water? Is it a little bit of water? Does it look like it'd be very uncomfortable for a baby to wear, or can it seem like the baby's gonna last a while using it? Taking photos of each diaper would be very useful. That's why I said you could use a camera. Lastly, the last thing, after reviewing my notes, meaning after writing down what's going on each diaper in my notebook, I will be able to tell which diaper was able to absorb the liquid better. So those are the steps. Now, if you want to do this part after you finish your experiment, you could do it. Just make sure you write down all the things that you did. You know, if you're making a volcano, if you build the volcano, you test it out, it explodes, whatever, awesome. But you have to make sure you write down somewhere, like in a notebook or maybe a piece of paper, what are the things that you did. You know, I went to the store and I bought this. I called my friend to do this part. We added the baking soda, the vinegar, you know, different things like that. Just keep track of the steps that you were doing. And the very, very last one. Well, actually, before the last part. After the procedures, and again, this is up to you. If you have pictures or if you're going to be able to find pictures, what you could do is that there could be an extra step after this one. After procedures, it could be evidence or examples or just pictures. And what you could do for that is you go up here, follow the cursor, you press this plus button, and that will create a brand new slide, a very brand new slide. When you first create a Google slide, you're going to get an empty one like this, and when you need another one, you just go back to the new slide. So I would say, oh, this is where I'm going to put the pictures of all the wet diapers, you know, pictures or evidence. And then right here, I would say these are the diapers after the experiment, you know. And then I would put pictures, you know, in this area right here. You could do that by going to Insert, Image, and then you can either use your own camera. You can use a camera from the computer, or if you have a cell phone or a smartphone, you can take a photo and then email it to yourself. Once you email it to yourself, it will be in your Google Drive. If you upload it to your computer, it would be in your photos. Or if you have it on your own website, if you have your own website, or if you're able to find a photo from a website, you can copy the URL. URL means this entire domain, this entire thing right here. You would copy it down, and you would, insert image, and you would click right here, and then type that whole thing in this section right here, and it'll upload the photo. Now, I don't have any examples of diapers just because this is an example of a Google slide. So I'll just leave this here for now. Again, if you are going to need another one of these slides, you just go up here and you make another one. If you make an extra one and you don't want it, you go here, you go over the slide that is an extra that you don't want, you right click and you put delete and it will get rid of it. All right. And the last one, very, very last thing is conclusion or results, meaning what happened after the experiment. Were you right? Were you wrong? And you know, I did not do this experiment, so I can't say yes, Huggies are the best, or Pampers are the best, or Loves are the best. So this is just kind of how it's supposed to look like. After my experiment, I found that blah 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 was the diaper that held the liquid the best. Based on these findings, I conclude, meaning I believe and I was proved right, that blah 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 is the best diaper. Now, let's say I did my experiment and I said in the hypothesis, this third part right here, I said I believe that Huggies are going to be the best. And then after I do the experiment and it shows that Huggies was the worst, like there was so much liquid everywhere, it just created a mess. Then at the end, I would write, after my experiment, I found that the Huggies did not hold the most water. So I was wrong in my experiment. Now, I've already had a whole bunch of students ask me, what if it doesn't work? What if I tried to do something and I wasn't able to do it right, or I was wrong, or I couldn't prove that I was right. That's okay. That's the whole point of this science fair project. If you do something, if you try to do something and it worked, awesome. If it keeps failing and failing and failing, that's okay. The main point of it is for you guys to learn from your failures. Take a step and see how you can make it better, or how you can just make sure not to do it the wrong way again. So yeah, if I said the Huggies were going to be the best and it turns out that Pampers were the best, I'll write that down. I thought that Huggies would be the best, but they aren't. So based on my experiment, Pampers are the best. You know, be very honest about what happened. You know, if you're doing a one of those like scale volcanoes, and you try to test it out with like Coke and Mentos, and nothing happens, like it doesn't explode or anything, write that down. You know, the first time I tried making the volcano, it did not work. So I either it's not going to work, or I need to try something else. That's the whole point of the experiment, for you guys to try things out and test things again and again. All right. So like I said, this is an example of a Google slide. You'll be able to create your own using the stuff that you have access to. Okay. Um, there's no exact due date of when this is going to be due, just because it's going to take some time. It's going to be easy for some people. It's going to be very hard for some people. But just take your time. If you have any questions, going back to your classroom, if you have any questions, just post it here. You know, ask a question. I already had someone ask me, when is the science fair project due, and I answered right away. If you have Facebook, think of this basically as Facebook. If you're gonna post something, and then I'll respond to it right away, or another student can respond to it. If you guys are trying to communicate with one another, this is a really good place to do it. You'll see all the people that are doing this same thing. You know, this is the list of everyone is in this entire class. All right. Another thing I want to say is that don't rush it. Really don't. There's going to be some homework assignments here that you could do. The science fair is the main thing, but there's going to be some homework assignments that you guys will have. For example, this one, a food pyramid. Um, I just want you guys to take your time, 30 minutes a day for a classroom, whether you're going to do Monday math or Tuesday science or Wednesday English, whatever it is. 30 minutes should be pretty good, so you're not stressing yourself too much. Of course, you'll be doing iStation as well, but don't stress yourself too much. Don't do way too much work to the point where you have no idea what you're doing. All right? So yeah, this is a video on showing you guys what I want you guys to do for the science fair, the Google Slides. Okay. Now this video is going to be available on my YouTube channel. It's a YouTube channel I just created, so I'll share you guys the link. There'll be other videos on there besides the science fair. There's going to be one on how to upload screenshots, how to take a screenshot, how to ask questions, different things like that. So if you're ever in the middle of the night or in the middle of the day and you don't know what you're doing, you can always go back to that YouTube channel that I'll show you guys. I'll share the link to. Everyone will have access to. And there's going to be videos. This whole video will be on there and other videos as well. All right. I hope you guys are doing safe, and I can't wait to see you guys' science fair projects. All right. Goodbye.